I asked you if you had done the work and you were ready to turn your attention to applying this relationship formula. I'm going to ask you a few questions and see if you can answer yes. If you can't, you're not ready to start being a good friend. I realize that it's not too late. Can you say that honestly, that you realize it's not too late? It is reasonable for me to want a rewarding and fulfilling relationship. Can you say that in earnest, that it's reasonable to want that? I am entitled to and deserve a high-quality, caring relationship. Because if you don't think you deserve it, you'll never get it. I have identified the wrong thinking that has previously contaminated my relationship. We've been through the myths. We've been through the bad spirit. We've been through the point that you are not a victim, that you own your relationship. So if you've identified the wrong thinking that's previously contaminated your relationship, then you're ready to move on. I have identified the bad spirits that contaminate my relationship. Have you done that work? Have you written down the bad spirits, the ones I listed that you're guilty of doing? I have embraced the personal relationship values that will configure me for success. We've talked about those things. I have diagnosed and gotten real about the pain and problems in my relationship so that you can talk about the issues and not just the topics. And if that's true, then you're ready to move forward. I accept and acknowledge full ownership of my contribution to where this relationship is. You own it. You recognize I either elicit, maintain, or allow whatever this relationship is. And lastly, I am committed to tapping into my core of consciousness. I am actively going to choose what kind of partner I am. If you can say yes to those statements, then you're ready to embark on this formula, the first part of which is creating a solid underlying friendship. And yes, those statements will be listed on the website. And if you can't fully endorse any one of those, you're not ready to move forward. Now, let's turn to the second half of this formula. It's a function of the extent to which it meets the needs of the two people involved. That means you have two jobs. Job number one, you need to teach your partner what your needs are. Because for this to work, it has to meet both of your needs. So you have a job. You have to teach your partner what your needs are. Number two, you have to work to discover the needs of your partner. Now think of what I just said. You have to work to teach your partner your needs, because this is not going to be a high-quality relationship if your needs aren't met and your partner can't meet your needs if they don't know what they are. It would be great if you and your partner have been going through this series together, because it means you're both listening right now. So you're both going to undertake these two jobs, which means you're going to be running towards each other. But most likely you're listening to this by yourself. So your partner may not actively be seeking to learn what your needs are, so you're going to have to motivate them to want to learn. But you have to give yourself permission to say, I'm entitled for my needs to be acknowledged. I'm entitled for them to be known. And you cannot teach your partner your needs if you don't know what they are, right? What are your needs? What do you need from this relationship? Well, you need to be loved. You need to feel safe. You need to know that your partner's proud of you. You need to know that your partner trusts you, appreciates you, wants to spend time with you, is attracted to you, is turned on by you, is intrigued by you. What are your needs? So to do this, you have to recognize that needs are not weaknesses. For you to pretend that you don't need someone mentally, emotionally, physically, socially, that's just a scam. I mean, you do need them. So let's just get real about it. You need to sit down and make a list of what your needs are that your partner can fulfill. You say, well, I need a better job. Well, unless your partner is your employer, then that's not relevant. What do you need that your partner can give you? Number one need in all people is acceptance. You can put synonyms in there, success, belongingness, but it's all that somebody likes you, wants to be with you, wants to be around you, wants to have them in their life. Yeah, okay. That's right. That's a need. Is it important to you that you know that your partner's proud of you and what you do, who you are, what you've achieved and accomplished, the work you do, the person you are, the things you believe in, the pursuits that you undertake? What are your needs? Do you need quiet time? Do you need alone time? What is it you need? It's important that you can articulate those things to your partner so they don't have to read your mind. Why should they have to guess at what you need? They shouldn't. They may see things in you need that you don't realize. That's great. But you at least need to be in touch with what you believe you need and communicate those things to your partner. Your second job is to discover what your partner's needs are. What's important to them? And a lot of this will depend on what their history has been. Robin and I both grew up with alcoholic fathers, and there is, as stereotypical as it may sound, there is a dynamic for kids that grow up with alcoholic fathers. They do become very independent and self-reliant. They do tend to do things alone. They have a fear of depending on other people because they have a history of being disappointed and let down. So if you have a partner that has been abandoned by a parent, abused by a parent, if you have a partner that was sexually molested, know what their vulnerabilities are, know what their hot buttons are, know what they need to soothe those wounds. If they were from a big family and they had to fight for attention, they had to fight for their place in the world. I married Robin, as you all know. She was from a family of 5 children, 4 girls and 1 boy, and she was the youngest girl from a very low-income family. Her mother was really good at sewing. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means that they never got store-bought clothes. All their clothes were made by their mother. What does it also mean? She was the youngest. So that means almost everything she got was a hand-me-down from an older sister. She never got any new clothes. She never got store-bought clothes. And to complicate it further, she's a twin. So that means she had to share everything with a twin. So she's the youngest of 4 girls and a twin. It was like everything was half. And to make it worse, her birthday's 3 days after Christmas. You go through Christmas and then 3 days later, it's your birthday. And it's like, we're kind of burned out on giving gifts here. We did everything we could at Christmas. So at Christmas time, they'd say that last present, just save that one for 3 days. That'll be your birthday present. It's like, come on. So you grow up your whole life, the youngest of 4 girls, all your clothes are hand-me-downs, all your clothes are homemade, you share everything with your twin, and then your birthday's 3 days after Christmas. It's like, come on, give me a break here. Now, if you know Robin and you've seen her wardrobe, that's important to her. I know that, so I never complain about that's important to her. It's more important to her than it is to me. You give me some tennis shorts, a T-shirt, and some tennis shoes with some rubber on them, I'm good to go. That just wasn't important to me. But it doesn't matter that it's important to me. It's important to her. I need to know her needs. You need to really focus on whether it's important to your partner or whether it's important to you. Think about it. You're laying in bed at night and you have a little 5-year-old child that wakes you up, says, "Mommy, I'm thirsty." And you say, "Well, I'm not. Go back to bed." Well, you'd never do that. You would say, "You're not getting a drink because I'm not thirsty." You'd get them a drink because they're thirsty. Well, I can't say to my wife, "Don't go buy clothes because they're not important to me. It's not important to me to go buy clothes, so you shouldn't." That's ridiculous. She places a value on looking nice and presenting well and having a nice wardrobe. That's important to her. So I'm not going to say, "Well, don't do that because it's not important to me." And it is important to me that she looks nice. I love that about her. I love her sense of style and all. But my point is, I recognize her need where she was in the birth order, 4 girls, sharing with a twin, blah, 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 blah. Learn your partner's needs. Be sensitive, even if they don't know how to articulate it. If they've been through trauma, they've been through tragedy of some sort, I mean, come on. It doesn't take Einstein to figure out that they have vulnerabilities there. Learn their needs. A real important point I'm making to you here is don't judge your partner's needs when you discover them. The worst thing in the world you can do is get your partner to open up to you and make disclosures about their intimate needs for you to then say, well, that's just silly. Don't judge your partner's needs, your partner's disclosures. Work to discover them. Look at their history. You make some inferences, validate those inferences with them. But when they do disclose that, it's really important that you handle that with sensitivity as though it were a fragile egg. There are certain things that your partner may tell you they need, that they may need from you, that you may think they're just wrong, that they already have that. They don't need that. They're just wrong. That's not how you feel. That's not what you do. Da, 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 da. No, that's not the time and the place to do that. You got to decide, you want to be right or you want to be happy. When they disclose something to you, you need to be a real good steward of that information. And let me tell you the biggest mistake you can ever make in your relationship. If your partner discloses something to you in this process I'm talking about with regard to discovering needs and them sharing with you, telling you what they need, what's important to them, based on their vulnerabilities or maybe based on wounds that they've carried throughout their life. If you ever violate that by bringing it up in an argument later and throwing it up in their face, like they've entrusted to you that they feel particularly hypersensitive because they were molested as a child, and later you say, well, I guess that's just because you were molested. Stop your sentence, go pack your bags, load your car, and move your happy ass down the road because there ain't no coming back from that. When someone takes the risk of entrusting you with their truth, vulnerabilities, needs, pain, and you then use that to leverage them later in an argument, that is a violation of the worst order. And I can tell you, I've seen it happen, and there was no coming back from it. It is a violation of trust. It's like, I want to know your needs because I want to meet them, and they tell you that, and then you used it against them. That is psychopathic exploitation, and they will dump you and should. You must be good stewards of that information, and don't you ever, I don't care how upset you are, I don't care if it's in divorce papers 5 years later, I don't care why it comes up, that is never okay. Never, ever, never okay.